What is up, everyone? Let's a little bit longer, so that we can play a little bit longer, and we'll be able to have more time on the clock to play higher quality chess and explain our chess in an instructive manner. That's the goal. That's the aim here. You guys to be able to, do what I do. Maybe even minus all the errors that I make. So we set this up. It's really exciting. It's the most fun way to play chess. It's also quite effective. I think you'll see exactly what I mean. So 6R8, nice haircut, thank you. What's wrong with the cropping here? Why do we have like multiple? Let's make me think about this. Okay, go away. Fix the clocks. Go. And there we go. Alright, you can see it now. Why do we play this move order? E6 and C5. It's to be as deceitful as possible. D takes C5 is a very interesting move. It's very, very interesting, actually. And I'm excited to actually get back to the other option, d5 being the main move. Not a bad move at all, and certainly the most common and automatic response. D takes c5 is interesting, because it's the one move that makes a6 look not useful, but b4 is not a good move. b4 is excessively greedy, trying to hang on to this pawn. We could talk about what better options for white might have looked like. If I play b6 right now, c takes b6, bishop takes b4 is very good for me, hitting the knight, and then I collect this. But they don't have to take it, I think. And I think better is with a5 here. Better is with a5. They don't have a3 because the rook is hanging. The rook is hanging. If the bishop were out, then it's actually a very different scenario. a3 defends, defends. But instead, everything just disintegrates here. I'm actually not remembering now whether in my own theory video whether the move was b6 or a5. I feel like with b6 there's like e4 takes. Okay, maybe push. a5 is much harder to ignore. If I were white, I'm thinking of a couple options. Knight b5. Then I take this pawn and knight d6 check is actually chief among them. There's not a lot I could do about this. I would take it. I'm not sure it ends well for white, though, because they play queen takes d6, which looks really compelling. Looks like this queen is right in my face. Oh, look at this bug. Okay, I'm gonna get him. Queen takes d6. I have rook a6 in that position. I'll show you what I mean later. b5 is a nice, simple option. Okay, of course I take. And I think black is already doing quite nicely. White now is push this pawn kind of randomly, and e3 I think was necessary, or else like here it gets very difficult to defend. Bishop d4, bishop d2 achieves nothing in the position. d5 I will think on it, but first I'm going to castle because we want to play moves that are categorically useful first. And like I'm castling is going to be very important no matter what I choose, and I want to see how they set up. So they chose to set up with bishop to d3. Now that really tells me to play d5. Blocking the queen. Blocking the queen. Something I want to do to follow this up is potentially just push d4. Recapture with the queen. And hit on f2 and a1. Bishop to b2 is interesting. Another option I had after c takes was bishop b4, Looking at knight or queen recaptures. If I could, hitting the bishop and this pawn, this pin. Okay, bishop b2 gives a few options to me. So let's say d4. I think knight a4 is off the table because I simply go check, and it's a disaster. So pawn takes d4. I would play queen takes d4. Now how are they dealing with f2? Queen e2. Potentially it's solid enough. That's obviously, of course, why they chose this spot. Other options include like e5. e5 is compelling. Probably not, though, because I guess I can't recapture. We would trade everything, and then I would lose to bishop takes h7. This was an interesting choice, targeting whatever piece ends up here. This is a good idea as well. I'm going to opt for just d4. I'm going to opt for just d4 and ask them some questions about how they want to defend over here. Because my queen lands in on d4, and looks intimidating because the bishop is staring at my queen. But the knight is really quite restricted, because the bishop's not protected. This was just not a good move. No, they had to take the pawn. I need to check and get this bug. Oh, man. Okay. No, this is just a disaster for white. I think they missed something here. Now, you don't even have a block, so the king has to move. Secondly, f takes e3 is a little uncomfortable. Why is the screen so small? Is it small? Is it okay now? For me, that's what I got the size of the screen to be. If I do this, now, yeah, that's what it is. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Sorry. I think the screen's fine. So if I take f takes, e5, you guys can let me know if the visual is good for you. Bishop takes e5, knight g4. I want to open this, right? So e5 takes. All right, we're just gonna make this trade. It is a little annoying though. The king. I got the king to f1, which is an achievement. Alas, we never actually made this trade. Like, they never took on d5. Right? Imagine these pawns were off the board. Okay, it's very easy for me to now develop my pieces. Alas, this bishop is stuck behind the pawn. The knight doesn't have access to its best square. So it's not so clear. And look, these bishops are actually pointing well. So the king is here, but there's no easy way to touch it. That's why I was considering e5 takes, and say, like, then knight g4, which, okay, causes some problems. This pawn is actually annoying. I would want, like, rook a6. I would want knight c6. I don't have these options. Alright, we're just going to play knight d7, very simply, because I don't have a better move, really. I mean, the knight needs to come into the game, and it's never going to come into the game because of this pawn. So, okay, we've made a big achievement, though. We've forced the king to move. That is not nothing. And there's going to be some annoyance if you want to, like, bring your rook into the game and stash your king back there. But okay, knight to f3. It's hard to see where I immediately strike. Knight to f3 gives me knight g4, potentially. Oh yeah, it's formatted for mobile. If you want the computer-sized one, that is on Twitch. I'm streaming live on Twitch. Should be linked right there in the description. Twitch.tv/wgrafe. YouTube will be phone-sized. Twitch will be computer-sized. Banner hides the white pieces at the top of the screen. I guess it depends on the size of your phone. There you go. Now you should see it. Queen c2. So, okay, they're cooking along these diagonals. The knight actually needs to be here to be able to, well, I was going to say defend h7, but of course taking here is not an option. Queen takes f6 check would be devastating for them. What do we do from here, though? This thing is, this pawn was actually taking away squares for my knight and my rook, and this knight is actually taking away the one square I want for my queen. I guess with queen c2 it gives me knight g4, but it doesn't, right? But it doesn't. Knight g4 takes king h8. It's not easy to defend, but I kind of start playing with fire. Let's say queen e4 in that position. I would play f5. I do start playing with fire. This would be nice, though. This takes h7, h8, queen e2. I have actually, I think, a lot of compelling resources if I go for this. I think I do. We're going to target this. It's not obvious to defend. For example, let's say you take it and play bishop to d4, right? Okay, I play, well, there I have e5, hitting the bishop, and then giving me e3. So takes king h8. You also have the additional thing to worry about of losing this bishop, right? So I can box you in, not with g6, because there's another diagonal that would pin me, but f5 runs you very short on squares. Say I'll follow that up with, say, queen g5, which would then trap the bishop, owing to the discoordination. And queen g5 also hits e3 again. No easy way to defend this, because now, like, your queen would be the most obvious piece to use, but she is busy. Queen e2 I think was best, right? So now you're offering this trade. I could take e3 and take here, but I think what I was looking at was a better move, which was queen g5. Or potentially even queen h4. Queen h4 is compelling because it really forces the bishop to move. And once it does, then I play knight takes h2 check. In that position, you have to give your rook. My other option is queen g5. Again, if the bishop moves, then I take this one, which is going to be pretty good, right? Queen g5, let's say knight f3. I can simply play queen h6. Bishop moves, then grab e3. Queen g5, knight f3. Queen takes e3. Then bishop moves. Potentially that's more okay for them. I think, well, here bishop d3, right? Then I take, rook takes, knight f3. I'm scared about this other rook coming to the h line in that case. So what I'm going to do is probably elect to play, well, because f5 is also compelling. 5h3, h4. That might be actually the most concrete, and it only just occurred to me. This might be the best way to win. f5 does a couple things. It's going to box the bishop out of retreating and defend my knight. If bishop g6, queen g5, which again not only traps the bishop, but also targets e3. And no silly like trades over there. And then h3, I think I had queen h4, which pins this pawn. First of all, I'm not even sure that was necessary. But you have to be careful. Like, knight moves, runs the bishop out of squares, but there is queen h5. And suddenly this bishop, which was once a weakness, becomes a very strong strength, potentially checkmating me. Queen h4, bishop has to move. Now we want to finish that bishop off. Knight e5, knight f3. Take it. There. Best then is probably queen h6, but then we're trading, right? Alright, I think I should just have confidence that the bishop is trapped. Again, without any weird exchange sacrifices. Knight f6, we're just going to make sure that there's no entry queen h5. The knight also has very powerful reroute options into g3 or into d2, in which case the queen would have to give herself up. So this was actually nice. We provoked h3 in now we might come back around into e4. Knight f3, which looks very natural, but now after just queen to h6, the bishop, I think, is now for real toast. Played f5, cutting off its escape routes, then knight f6 back. They took h7, but they just didn't have... They had one good piece, and then the queen was just trying to get into h5, but they just didn't have the resources to hold that up. Knight e5, I would just trade and grab the bishop. Otherwise takes, just does nothing after either recapture. Or not either recapture, probably rook only. Knight e4 first is good, but I'll just take it. Knight e4 first. They wanted to play, I guess, h5. Let's just get a win the way of this pawn. Alright, we're short on time, but we are ahead a clean piece here. They want this knight here. That's my understanding. Knight h4, what's happening? I would just take it. Taking is a little risky. Let's just play simple. Let's just get off the line here. Knight g6. Do I want knight e4 or knight g4? Both are good. I'll just move while I think about it. No, I mean, not a bad idea. Improve this knight, but there's no follow-up here. Unless you're able to hit my queen this way. I don't really think so. I can put my knight just blocking this. But otherwise, I think we did a good job of really cleanly grabbing that bishop without allowing counterplay. Let's play b6 to make sure we activate all of our pieces. These pieces are not playing. Like, I could do a lot of things with the knights right now, but these pieces are not playing. And that's unacceptable. Bishop b7. Knights are defending each other from the rook and the bishop's wrath. Next thing I'm doing is I'm just going to get the last piece of the game. I'm short on time, so I'm just making easy decisions here. Just making easy decisions here. If a3, where are we going? Probably here. It's fine. Trade. Knight e4, it's a nice square, it doesn't necessarily have a threat. Knight g4, same deal. That's why we think ahead. e5 an option as well. I think simple, I'm going to go here and knight c5 and just make some trades. They wanted that trade. That was actually the most annoying piece for me. f4 is now, seems quite compelling with my rook on the f line. Let's go knight takes, any other capture hung the knight. Okay, they grabbed b6, so there was some logic to their trades there. Let's make trades. c5, c6, that was actually maybe a consequential pawn. Because c5, c6, if they got them both in succession, kind of runs me over. So what we'll need then is some play of our own, which will come in the way of probably f4. Let's play first knight d5. c6, okay, I can take here, take here. I want my bishop on this side of c6. There, which is interesting. e4, I wanted then knight e3. I wanted to make sure this file gets forced open. Let's go trade. Takes e3. Trying to get some counterplay here. Opponent's doing a good job making this a little tricky for me. I forgot that was legal. Oh, check and takes. No, I should have gone queen h5 last turn. I'm actually not clear what's happening now. Oh, the queen takes a5, which I missed. Actually, really messed up by me. Wow, very well played by them, and very poorly played by me. Something went terribly wrong. I guess. Okay, it's all -4. They're making every right move here. Nice C4 is a really nice move. Because, or else C6, okay, I can just take this, right? And then be up a clean piece. Otherwise trade. And then we're ahead of we're in front of it. And F4 comes. C4. This was very bad. Better was pawn takes. And if they do the same thing, we have the knights on the board. It's a big difference somehow. Not want this. I don't even understand. Rook F4 and I'm winning. I mean, this shouldn't have been the easiest way to win. Bishop here is the best way for my bishop to get in front of C6, right? So now C6 comes. Now we trade and F4. And this is very smart for a couple of reasons. We stop them from playing E4, so we force this pawn trade. Keep the bishop on the board, there's no block on F3, so now we're crashing through here and like an H4 or something with Queen F2 to follow. So, okay, well, yeah, quite well played by my opponent here. I don't know what really was happening at the end. Okay, should have all been a draw. But okay, this was very ambitious. Yes, I can just go here and then keep checking. I went for Queen D4 trying to get there. I thought I didn't see that the queen could cover here, but takes A5. Yeah, my opponent did a great job continuing to complicate matters, and then eventually they won a very important pawn on B6, which allowed this to get going, and I underestimated this and mishandled it. Oh well. What's up? What's up? All right, we'll get him next time. What tournament am I playing? I'm just playing the Lee Chess Rapid Arena right now. The mic seems different. Ah. This should be better, yeah? Hello, hello. All of our friends. I'm so jealous. How are you so good? Well, I guess I'm not so good. I did lose that one. Don't worry, we'll get it next time. I've been playing chess for a very long time. I've been playing chess for a very, very long time. Okay. What I like doing against G6 in moderns. Whoa. Okay, I mean, not the smartest thing to do. It was kind of an important piece. It's kind of an important piece. I don't know what you're going to do without him. Okay. Just want to trade them all. Opponent really likes trading. This seems kind of annoying. Just activating my rook onto the open file. Kind of an effortless decision. Immediately attacking this. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, that should do it. That should do it. Bishop D5. Well, that wins an exchange outright, right? Queen D7, E5. So they should move the knight. I guess here, Queen D7, E5, there is D5, C4. Here. Rook B4. There's A6, right? It's knight A5. Check. There's no obvious follow-up. Should I just go here and grab the rook? It seems kind of lame. I mean, there's a lot of good moves. Alright. Okay. I will play E5. I think any move was good. This. Just castles. got overwhelmed. Analysis paralysis. Why didn't he take the bishop after the check? Yeah, he hates bishops. It's true. Opponent hates bishops. He goes g6, and he's like, I need to get rid of this one, right? And then immediately he's like d6, just in case they develop that knight, so that I can get rid of this one. Okay, d5. Let's just eat that pawn. What is his next ambition after achieving these big goals? It's not looking good. It's not looking good. The knight is gonna get demolished unless it moves, in which case the rook is lost. This just opened up a checkmate threat. True, you can't be tricked by knights if your opponent doesn't have any. Where if bishop takes, is there a faster mate? Yes. King f8. Oh, king f8 and knight f6 I didn't see. I guess I had queen takes, king d7. Where was the mate there? Yeah. Alright, they have knight f6. Is what it is. Should play bishop? No. Okay, check. Guess, do you want to keep running? Check again. Run. Would be fun. Okay, we go back this way. I mean, I could just win the queen. Alright. Alright. I guess I'd check here. Where's the mate? Check. Yeah, king c8, bishop a6, right? So here. King e8, bishop b5. Okay, they just give the queen instead. Oh hum. Do something sneaky. Rook is defending here anyway. I have a mate threat, and I'd like this game to be over. I think he's wasting our time. This is like promote to 7 knights energy right here. Playing this out. This is a nice move. I mean, it's objectively like a pretty move. Like, you can't take the queen. Okay. Thanks for wasting our time. I don't really have too good of a sense of these things, I guess, sometimes. But, like, okay, 1646 on Lee chess, like, that's not a bad player at chess. I don't want to be mean, but, like, that's not the evaluation I would give based off of that game. Hello, Secant. Bunny, you died. Oh, that's a username. Chemio 3. Bellador. Takes. Let's try to sacrifice this pawn. Oh, a knight c6 pre-move is spicy. Yeah, let's play c3. Take my pawn. Ooh. Accelerating. Okay. Castles. Castles or queen b3? Let's just castle. Gambit glasses, baby. Yes. Okay, they took these pawns. Finally, we took one. We're down 2. Down 2 is fine by me because now we've got some targets, right? So knight g5, there's no longer knight e5, which is otherwise an effective parry as soon as the knight loses control. Knight e5 hitting the bishop and defending f7. So knight g5 is compelling. They don't have castles, right, with the bishop still there. So it's a good moment to attack f7. The only way to not lose is like d5 or bishop e6. So compare knight g5, bishop e6 to queen b3, bishop e6. Takes, takes. Which one's the queen going to take? b7 or e6? Probably knight g5, bishop e6, right? Takes, takes. Let's say knight takes. Queen d7, queen b3. I mean, that's extremely good. Let's start out with queen b3. Let's start out with queen b3. I like knight g5 also. But this is the moment we want to attack f7, right before they have the opportunity to castle to do it. d5 now, I am very happy to go pawn takes d5 with a tempo on this knight. And again, they're still 2 moves from getting their king out of the center. T minus 2. We've got some interesting options, like, for example, this is probably not totally what I want. Let's go queen a4. This is what I was looking at. c6 is the only way to not lose this. Bishop takes f6 now. I mean, queen takes f6 is not totally on the table for them. That does hit this. Rook e1 here. I mean, that just picks up a piece, right? So I could play d6 in that position. Queen takes d6 and take here. Unless I have better. Better might entail, say, knight e5, targeting here and here. So let's say knight e5, bishop d6. dc6. Castles. Alright, let's just be simple. I actually think the most effective way to hit this is not d6 and just recapturing, but rather bishop a3. Which only just occurred to me, because I can also take this. I actually am quite overwhelmed with all my excellent options. But bishop a3 I think is the best, even after b5. b5... No, best is first d6, targeting this bishop, drawing out. Okay, they just play b5 right away. But now dc7. I could just come back queen d1. Well, queen d1, knight c4. Knight c4, I would take on e7. It's actually a little tricky there. b5 was an interesting counter-strike. Takes, takes, takes. I hit bishop d7. Wasn't so obvious. If I just took this, then we were just kind of trading. And okay, this endgame is better for me. It wasn't what I wanted. And if I played rook takes e7, there's queen takes e7. So yeah, this is what I expected. Rook takes. I still induce that, and I'm still taking on f6. That was an interesting option, but I do have rook takes f7. I think, but yeah, I understand the logic. I think pawn takes, it looks like the demise is inevitable, but it wasn't so obvious that it was, actually. Here, yes, they just simply lose the queen. Let's go check on b3. Knight c4, I can hit that. Oh, I have knight g5 here. I have knight g5 here, which they missed. No, they were fighting. They were fighting. I think they didn't have to go knight takes d6, although it's not so clear to me. No, but here they should lose for sure. Finally, we develop these pieces. Check.
Run you out of squares. Okay. What? Oh. I was like, why isn't that mate? I didn't see it wasn't mate. This would be mate. They can keep being annoying. I need to cut off the king and then get him. Rook d3 is this. Is it? No. Oh my god. That's me. There we go. All right. So, okay, this was interesting. No, it was losing for them quite quickly here. Their only way to hang on, because if they could play bishop e7 knight f6 together, which they can't, right, because they need shield g7, but let's say they can go here and here, then they'd be able to castle and be okay. Bishop e6 is needed to kind of shield f7. I'll probably trade and go queen b3, targeting these points. But yeah, shielding f7 is very important because I'm able to hit it without castling for the rook to just defend it. So here, no, it's already losing for black. This, I think, just makes it worse. And I think it was unnecessarily precise on my end. I think like a lot of things here are winning, like knight e5, like I mentioned in the game. But okay, check d6. This was interesting, b5. Right, because queen takes d6. This was my point, bishop a3. Bishop a3 hitting the queen and hitting this bishop on e7. It's very good to have their king in the middle, right? Because then my rook just comes here and just causes them all sorts of problems with this pin, as opposed to if the king were safe and sound, right? So I'm very happy that I've traded all these pawns in the middle of the board for just rook e1, like bishop a3, sniping against that pin piece. And here, okay, they're totally lost because they're losing like their queen in this position, for example. They played a very interesting option with b5, which gives me some ways to go wrong. It wanted me to just do this. I didn't realize that I was just winning in this position because I was just like counting the material in my head, and I'm like, queens are traded. Apparently it's plus 5.6, even though queens are traded, and I'm actually down a pawn by the raw count. But oh no, I'm up a piece. How did I go up a piece? Oh, because I took a piece and took a queen. I didn't even realize that. Okay, so I go queen d1, which actually ruins everything apparently, because this is drawn if they just recapture. Alright, well, they took here. I thought like the queen would be coming around here, but I guess I'm losing d6 too quickly. Interesting. In the game, okay, they just took here, and I just was able to grab the queen with takes f7. Check, hitting the queen. And we grabbed it. Check here was actually nice. Knight c4 is not pleasant, because that's hanging also. Otherwise, king f8, and so my pieces come in very well here. So, okay, when you have a queen against the king. I missed a lot of quick checkmates, I guess. King g2 was the best move, according to the engine. I'm not sure why. Okay, but we found one of them. Alright. Let's get them. Hello, hello, hello. We're in the rapid arena. Oh, man. For our rapid rating, we need another win here to get back over 24. Thanks so much, Ross to Rasputins on Twitch for the 100 bits. Cheer. D takes e7. What about D takes e7? Then you're up a piece. Yes, you're correct. You're correct. You saw it. I didn't. I miscounted the pieces in that line. Use Ruck. I'll have to keep that in mind. I guess that was in reference to when the king was like running around to e2. And okay, I didn't. Oh, interesting. All right, we're playing an FM, who I am 1-1 against. Good luck, sir. Or madam. Already thinking on move 1. C4, A6. We got the Gambit glasses ready. We got the Gambit glasses ready. The trickiest line against the English. Didn't even want it. Knight C3, because then B5 could potentially pester the knight with B4. Takes, takes, takes. We continue to take the center and bother this knight. Fun line. E4, covered on my channel, of course. e4 stops b5 a different way, and it's not really a Gambit full option. I'll just play here e5. I'll just play here e5, because now I'm just looking at the hole created on d4. I mean, it's not really something many English players will do, play e4 on the second move or at all. Right? What I'm going to play here is bishop to c5, actually. What I'm doing is taking advantage of this move a6. Because if my bishop is ever hit, we'll come back to a7 very nicely as a storage square, scoping out this diagonal. So this should be very nice. They've played c4 and e4, so probably weaken the dark squares. We didn't get to do our gambit. But we'll just set up with d6 knight c6. And maybe f5? We'll see. Something white can do is knight f3, which asks me an interesting question. If I play d6, they actually have the opportunity to play d4 right away. And then takes, and we're talking about a totally different kind of position, which is probably not what I wanted. If I play knight c6, covering e5 and d4, then there is knight takes e5. Wow, this was not on my radar as a good option. So definitely not taking. I'm definitely not taking. Immediately off the table. Knight f3 just stops this, and then they have the d4 square, beautiful center, and I'm probably not hanging on to that pawn anyway. By that logic, I'm just probably playing d6. The other option is take g1. Rook takes g1, which few people realize is an option. But then I could go check g3 and take h2. What's happening there? Probably rook g2. Maybe queen h1. No, I would say I have the upper hand there because they've wasted a move, but so have I with a6. And I don't have any pieces out, neither do they. They're probably going to long castle quickly. And it's playable, but I don't think there's much compensation. Takes, and takes f4 is also compelling. But this isn't really the way William likes to play chess. I'm just going to play the very calm d6. As is almost categorically my advice against f4 or f5 hits in king's pawn. Don't take it. Don't take it. You give them what they want with, like, then control over this square, and then they'll eat it back. Don't do it. Just get your bishop there and play d6 once you've gotten your bishop on the other side of this door. Right? The bishop then scopes out this diagonal with the pawn not in the way and will forever stop castling as long as he exists. d6, on the other hand, supports the e5 pawn against any capture here, and with the pawn there, prevents this diagonal from getting blocked. With the a6 move included, as I just mentioned, proves quite useful. There is no knight to a4 in this position, which would trade off otherwise for my best piece. My piece causing white lots of problems here. I will just bring it right back to a7, and the knight will be a little silly on the edge of the board. So my setup is actually all very nice, useful moves. White's setup is a Vienna, where I actually already got my ideal setup against the Vienna, but they also played c4, which is not useful. Stopping the bishop and lacking control here. So I quite like my position. If I got to move again, I would probably play bishop to g4. If this were a bishop instead of a pawn, or we're potentially having a different conversation, there could be some like check and then knight moves, check, winning the bishop. Something to watch out for. I don't think they actually have it until I would move this knight. But bishop to g4 is a very simple idea. My next move is going to be knight d4. So for example, d3. It's hard to recommend something for white then. Maybe they play h3. I think that's what they're considering. Is bishop g4 that good? a6, am I memeing? I'm always serious. No, I'm always having fun. Yeah, a6. I played against titled players. You must be new here. But yes, that is a valid reaction. No, it's fun. It's fun. You should check out the full video on the Grafe Gambit, as it is called, against the English. No, we want to hit him with b5, and we make this move useful in all cases. Okay. Bishop comes to g2, because it couldn't come out this way. It's not like it does more on g2. If I play bishop g4, h3, takes, knight d4. No, I mean, this has to be good. Bishop g2. They still... The problem white has is they will never castle short. They will never castle short. I control d4 so well, they're not going to play it. My bishop just took away this knight, and all of my moves have been about just this bishop. Just this bishop. They're making sure there's no d4. These pieces are working, all of them, to control d4. And then a6, my other move, is just working so that there's no knight a4, and I can come here. Otherwise, this bishop, just by existing, just wreaks havoc on your position by just not being able to castle. It's so unbelievably frustrating, and it's because you moved this pawn. So against Vienna's, this is the setup I like. It's like as if e4, e5, knight c3, or is kind of what I'm talking about, and then f4. We've included these moves, but my move is useful, and theirs is the opposite. They need to arrange it along castles, what they needed to do. I mean, that's their only way out. But it was gonna likewise be difficult to do. Their position was actually pretty bad. Bishop e2 is probably what they should play. I mean, they're probably realizing it now. Like g3, it's not consistent with that. But bishop g2, my knight just lives here. Again, you can't short castle. Well, okay. They'll play h3. The thing is, what can happen is a well-timed pawn takes f4. If I control d4 so well that I don't even need the pawn to stop d4, and I could follow that up, like let's say this knight didn't exist, if I could follow that up with queen h4, then obviously that's extremely strong. d3 logical, so there's none of this. I could play knight d4, totally. Bishop g2. There's no obvious follow-up. Sorry about that. It's New York City, what can you do? Knight here. Knight here. I don't know, like they'd look pretty. I think as far as causing problems goes, I like h5, h4 best. I could take it. Queen takes, knight d4. This is good. I mean, I forced the queen to an awkward square just to guard c2. Right? I mean, I have a lot of good moves. Queen maybe just has to go right back to d1, man. Alright, let's do the most annoying option, which I think is h5. Because now I introduce a whole new player into this game, which is the idea of going here. I think if I were white, I would push h3. Which, okay, just obliges me to go takes, takes, and knight d4. Because if you don't, then this comes. Then I can start really combining ideas. Bishop g2, I can kick you right out of there. So, okay, they play h3. And I'll take it. And we'll jump in knight d4. The thing about... Okay, no, it's good, it's good. Yeah. The queen comes back. I like this inclusion. I intuitively did because it softened this point. And I wanted to attack right there. Question is how? h4, g4. Bishop still defends. There are a couple moves from getting out of here. Still not obvious how. This is an important moment to maybe find out how we get them. Potentially it's just 87. This is another option I'm considering. c6, queen b6. c6 is... Queen b6. There is like knight a4 though. I mean, otherwise the idea would just kind of be playing f5 and getting the rooks, right? I'm just playing with the rooks. Let's play knight e7. I need that guy out anyway. I think he's going to do a couple useful things from here. He wasn't coming f6 anyway. So f5 is now actually probably better supported. What I'm looking at, another idea, is h4, g4, take f4, and he6. Hitting the bishop again, asking it where it's going to go. And then the queen comes out to f6. Knight has a lot of nice squares here. But this is a little tricky to develop. Because even if you play bishop e3, then where does your queen go? So that there's no knight f3. And no knight c2. No, this guy needs to defend a lot of squares. Bishop to g2 doesn't get you any closer to your goal of getting the king out of the middle, right? Castles, even if this is blocked, is still a discovered attack. So at minimum, I'll play knight b3, check, take here. Okay, I mean, bishop g2 is like a useful move, but it's not. So h4, g4, they still want to do this in one go, which I don't want them to do. I could play f5. Takes, I mean, I feel like I just made them look like a genius. The diagonal just opened. Sesame. And knight g6 immediately there is f5. So we need to be smart about this. I think the smartest option is the very calm c6, stunting this diagonal and giving the queen dark square options to come out, and also taking away any knight d5. And asking them how they are going to get their pieces out. Castles, there's... So, like, I could have gone, but it would have, I think, been a bit of an overreaction. And it would have been pressing my hand a little bit. I am kind of saying, okay, what's your idea? This is well-timed when I don't have this. So let's see. What we could do is trade in queen b6. I think that is quite annoying. Or the immediate queen b6. Yes, just the immediate queen b6. So that works well without knight a4 as a way to hit the queen and trade off here. So they're trading off for my strong knight, but after bishop takes d4, we still have them cut off in both directions. There's definitely no castling this way, and getting these pieces out continues to be difficult. There's pressure here. Whoops. There's pressure there on b2. I'm not saying I'm going to take it right now, but and then also there's an idea of, well, check and take the pawn, right? Shout out to the inclusion of these moves. If the pawn were on h2, this would just be defended, and it would just maybe not be the end of the world for them. So queen e2. Good thing I didn't capture myself. And now I think we'll just play the very simple castles long and again ask them, how are you going to bring your pieces out? This bishop is once again stuck, and I would just take on b2. I think if I'm white here, I play f5. Because otherwise I play f5, and your king is now getting stuck in the middle, and this f5 looks, when you got a 4 box of pawns, that tells you there's going to be a lot of pawn trades. Imagine if both those files open up for my rooks. Right onto that king. Right onto the f2 square. So, if I'm white, I'm playing f5, but that's not the world's only pawn break. I have d5 as another pawn break. g6, potentially they can close it again. Interesting position. So they just give up, and they're playing king d1. They're just like, king d1, king c2, let me just get over there. Valid. Valid. We won the battle, but the war rages on. Let's play king b8 as I think about what to do. I want to get my king to a safer spot as well. So I go there. Do I play bishop f2? I want my knight here, right? There's a lot of things I want. Do I play d5? Maybe d5 is just simply a good idea. d5 seems to just be opening things where their king generally is located. Alright, let's give it a shot. It's not even the sort of move I think a lot about. And in fact, if I held tight, it wasn't clear how they were getting out still. So it might have been a little rash, but we'll see. Time will tell. Maybe I could have prepared this better with my rooks. I held tight for a long time without striking, just pressing, pressing, pressing. I'm very proud of myself. Alright, we got a lot of good options here. Knight f5 hits this, and I obviously want to come to d4. Knight f5 hits this, right? So we're talking about maybe queen f3 as a defense. And then we just need to slide this out the way. But there's other good moves here, like e4 or take c4, that also contribute to the blow up of their position. So let's trade on c4 though, which can't be bad. And now let's play this nice move, knight to f5. Okay, so I've helped their bishop, which, you know, I didn't want to do, but I did. But this is a weakness. And knight d4 and queen g6. We got a lot of good options. I do want to play with both my rooks. So, like, I want them, like, here and here. And nothing was wrong with any move in these positions. But knight takes g3 is serious. I mean, I'll just take here and I'll just eat material with less than 0 compensation. Queen d3 is an option. Okay, b4. Okay, they've had enough of defending. I could move my bishop, and it's actually not obvious how you don't just die to knight d4. Let's see here. Like, if I go like bishop f2, I guess rook d1. Okay, let me just take this. Here, I also had queen g6 as an additional resource. Queen g6, king moves, and then e4 actually really shoves it in their face and gives them no compensation, right? So this is check, otherwise I get mated. Oh, it's even better than I thought. The rook is hanging with check if they go king b3. So then it's like, where do you go? Yeah, so they wanted... I understand b4. I understand b4. They were like, oh, okay, fine, I give the rook, but at least this is open. Okay, f5, I actually missed this. I missed this, and I only have one option, which is queen takes f5. Okay, well, worse things have happened. We're up 2 pawns. No, that was a good move. Alright, well, I mean, we're just up 2 pawns in the endgame. So, not bad from a technical standpoint that we got to an endgame that, you know, we are quite confident that we can win. How to start this off? I think just knight g3 and roll. Bishop e3 is an option. I actually like bishop e3. There's no reason to let them hang around with this bishop pair. And I think this is hard trade to dodge, because then the rook comes into d3. Yeah, so they do try to dodge it. But the rook comes into d3. I'm aware of this. However... Okay, they're going there, which I thought maybe introduced the mating net. I like their aggressive style. They were kind of just forced... Like, here and here could end the game. Just want to... You know, be careful here. d4. So let's say knight d6. Bishop takes e5, b5. Take, king a5. Rook a3, that's mate at the end of that line. So this is a good move by that logic. Takes e5, right, is inevitable mate here and here. Otherwise, we're hitting c4 and preparing b5. Ah, so they didn't see that line. No, I mean, I think I was just up a couple pawns there, and it was... Alright, nice mating pattern. That was actually a very pretty mating pattern, that we just tracked down this king, supporting the bishop here, with the rook coming to a3. This knight that's pinned covers b5, which I always, when I was little, I thought that was a weird rule in chess. Like, you should be able to go king takes b5 in this position and trade kings. Like, it shouldn't count. But okay, it does. King a5 and rook a3, nice study-esque mate where, like, everything's barely controlled. Very interesting game. Very, very interesting game. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I think this was a high-quality chess game between 2 good players. 2 very good players. So, c4, a6, let's talk about the opening. He played e4 in the game. So, actually, let me get to the opening last. And the most compelling lines, because most people in this position are, of course, just going to play knight to c3. Knight c3 is typically what English players play on move 2, like, basically have it pre-moved. Like, the knight's come into c3 if you played c4. Why wouldn't it? It's not even blockading the own pawn anymore. Where else would the knight go? And it also becomes more compelling because you control b5 twice. a6, ostensibly the only idea of it, was to play b5. But now it becomes better. Okay, let's talk about this after. My opponent played a weird option. All the way down here, the 6th most common move in the position, 3% of games, e4. So with e4, I think part of e4 is they think I'm just kind of like messing around on the side of the board. I'm just going to give them the whole center, which I'm not going to do. I am not one of those mess around on the side of the board players. Like, if someone does it to me, I'm gladly just take the center, take the space, and then from the center of the board just walk them down, right? And like start looking to their king. But e4, okay, it's not a bad move. It's not just playing for tricks because b5 is now not a compelling option. It doesn't bother this knight with b4, and this is really just a loss of a pawn kind of in a vacuum. So I wasn't going to do it, but instead I played here e5. We get an exclam for it. Shout out to Lee Chess Tools for giving this analysis. And my opponent now just develops knight c3. I develop bishop c5, and f4 is an error. I'll talk about this in a moment. If my opponent just proceeded with knight f3, this is actually interesting. Yeah, if I play knight c6, okay, there is knight takes e5. There is knight takes e5, because if there weren't, and they just had to play d3, and I was able to achieve this with d6, so now I could recapture my pawn. Okay, this is actually a really solid setup. Even without that pawn having moved, this is a really solid setup. And something I might try to do is play f5 and knight f6, or even not, even just play here and look towards my really nice d4 square. Alas, with knight f3 here, just because of the move order quirks, I can't play these moves at once. It's not like I did a move other than a6, but d6 here defending e5 more solidly, there's just d4. Right, and then takes before my knight was able to control this. So that doesn't work. Knight c6, there's knight takes e5, yes. If I take back, there's d4, and white here is doing well after trading off in this position with their nice center fork trick. And if takes f2, again, they have a lot of space. If they're able to play d4, then the pawns on c4 and e4 look like it makes sense. They're part of a big center, right? But if they're just like this and I control d4, then it looks like there's just a gaping hole in between them. What I would probably play against knight takes e5, being real with y'all, is knight f6. I'd play knight f6 and look towards, like, okay, knight takes e6, d takes e6, and this looks like a Stafford or a Bush guess to me. Just we've played these moves c4 and a6. Otherwise, if the pawns were back home, I've seen that position a million times. So that's probably what I would do. That's probably what I would do against knight takes e5. I don't know if that's so crazy. I guess here I don't have d5 anymore, right? But I could play knight d4. Interesting position. Okay, but that was their best option. Knight f3 and trying to play d4 as quickly as possible. Great explanations, thank you. But they played here f4. And again with f4, it's a move that's really fishing for a specific response. And the specific response, every King's Gambit player and every Vienna player, their face lights up anytime you play pawn takes f4. Even if the engine recommends it, just don't do it. I struggle to find lines where I would, or positions where, like, it's almost a categorical rule. Stop taking this pawn. Just stop. Okay? Don't accept it. Because what happens, okay, like, whether they allow queen h4 check or not, but, I mean, you can see here, like, they'll just play d4. I don't have this pawn stopping that anymore. And here, it's actually just very simple for white to, like, run me over with, like, e5 and force my knight like back to g8, but then also take this pawn with like a huge massive position. So that's what they want. That's what they want, but you just don't have to take it. Just leave it there and just play d6. Bishop c5, d6. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. And what we do from here, right? So all of these moves, all of these pawns actually contribute to the health of this bishop. Suddenly this pawn is just hanging out on f4 doing what? Doing what? I don't know, because this bishop here is now going to take advantage of the fact that it's not on f2 and just cutting castling, and you saw, even against an FM, how unbelievably frustrating that is, right? So what can white do from here? They play knight f3, they're looking to play d4, make that trade, and try to get in front of this bishop. I say absolutely not. I'm just playing knight c6, simply defending e5, right? Defend on e5 and d4. a6, very useful move, right? Knight to a4 would be very annoying because this bishop is my best piece, tying him completely down, and it just comes here. And however annoying you think this bishop is, it's about 10 times more annoying. Like, just not being able to castle is just so frustrating in a line that really requires castling in this direction. Castling here feels incredibly artificial, and, you know, that was kind of demonstrated in this game. There was no great option here for my opponent. I think they're already worse. Yeah, minus 0.8 here. Okay, g3, and we just continue to develop the pieces very logically. Bishop to g4. Every single one of my moves I've made centers around this bishop and this square, right? So bishop to g4 is still targeting here and looking at ideas of knight to d4 jump again. So my opponent now just plays the very calm move d3. Again, struggling to find ways that the bishop and the queen can maybe move to allow a castle here. Can you arrange bishop e3 somehow to trade off for this bishop? But the queen doesn't have access to these squares because it's going to be hit by knight d4 because this bishop's there to trade off. So just, and oh, by the way, you have to take into account any moment maybe I can trade and come to queen h4, but I'm probably not going to do that. So tough situation for white here. They play your d3, right? h3 just kind of is fine, but it encourages me to make a trade that I probably wanted to make anyway. Knight d4, similar thing happened in the game. Okay, queen has to come back home. They're no closer to castling long because knight c2 is a nasty problem. d3 played, very reasonable move, but now, oh, I got an exclam for this. It was actually the top engine move, h5. h5, this is the first move I make. Okay, that's not all about this bishop. Finally, we're like, okay, I've got you totally pinned down. It's going to take white a number of moves to figure something out to castle in one direction or the other. So finally, I've got you. Now how can I create problems? I see this bishop potentially coming to g2. What I want is h4, and maybe making this pawn weak, but also maybe playing h3, driving you back to f1, and then knight to d4 becomes very, very effective there. So, you know, we're looking at this pawn chain, we're looking at the king stuck in the middle, and we're trying to undermine that with the queen. Still, actually, knight f6, you'll note I never played this move. It's like not like a bad move or anything, but I never played this move because it's not consistent with any of my ideas. It's like a move you would just play like kind of mindlessly, like, oh, I just got to develop the knight. But these moves all have a very specific purpose and very specific problem-causing purpose, and we're not wasting even one move, right? a6, like I said, is useful. It was the very first move I played this game, but it's very useful. Knight to a4 would be a big problem if this bishop had to get traded, but it just comes right back there. Shout out to a6. Okay, h3 I think is a good move. Because, like I said, if you just play like bishop to g2 here, which is kind of the most obvious thing to do, then h4 comes, and this seems really bad, because my next moves are knight d4 and h3. And then the bishop moves, and then I take this knight. So I think here, what my opponent did of playing h3 and forcing my hand to capture, queen takes f3, knight to d4, and the queen has to come right back to d1. Not really obvious where else she goes. Maybe queen g2 was possible, trying to play bishop e3, but even bishop e3 I can play like knight c2 check, like okay, imagine I just do kind of something, bishop e3, I would play knight c2 check, queen takes, and bishop takes e3, and that's not a bad trade for me at all. The dark square bishop now without its counterpart is just a monster, cutting castling in every direction, takes f4 and queen h4 on the table here, so this looks pretty good for black. So queen g2 an option, but queen d1, there's logic to it. This setup, there's also logic too, right? This is what they were going for with h3. So instead of just h4, just completely undermining this structure and potentially takes, and then this becoming very weak, right next to their king, here they have the very strong response g4. Not that, you know, there's still other ideas like takes, right? So this is one of the engine's ideas here, zigzagging the knight into g6. That was doable, right? Knight g6, queen f6, knight f4. I was talking about these ideas. But okay, I took a slightly different approach, which is just the immediate knight to e7. Just the immediate knight d7, and I thought I still had that idea in my back pocket if I wanted it to. For example, I thought like bishop to d2. Now I would do the same idea. h4, g4, takes, make you move it one more time. Takes, and knight g6, right? So, but apparently the best move for white is h4, just taking away this, which is kind of a crazy move to make. I guess it's going here, maybe stopping. Now maybe it causes me a problem. This is where I wanted to castle. I played h5. I don't want to castle here, and my rook is now gone once I castle there. Interesting. Really hard move to find, h4, I think. Really hard move to find, because it looks like you've already set up in the way you want. And h4, like, it just wouldn't, it didn't occur to me. But the bishop's doing nothing here, and it's actually doing a really annoying job here. So, interesting idea. So I needed to play h4 first. Okay, knight e7, not a bad move by any stretch. This is where the knight wants to go. Pretty much a categorically useful move. Bishop to g2, honestly, fine choice. It's hard to justify anything here for white. And now I play your c6. Okay, it wanted me to go to this idea. h4, g4 takes. I could have. I just didn't want that. I didn't like the idea of that bishop developing in one go, because I'm like, it needs to develop anyway. I want to make them burn a move. But takes knight g6. Okay, I understand why this is very strong. My queen comes to f6, and knight pours into f4, and I just have dominant dark square control. Again, castling's just not on the table for them. I just check and just take that rook, or check and take this bishop. So you just can't castle into that guy. And again, anytime the bishop comes to e3, this is actually a very nice trick. Takes e3. Okay, queen g5. Again, speaking of dominant dark square control, you are all on light squares. You don't control the other half of the squares. All right, I think c6, though, that I played is very justifiable, because A, I wanted maybe to play f5 at some moment, and I didn't like the idea of that bishop streaking down. B, knight d5, even at the end of the line that I was just showing, like hitting the bishop here or something, hitting c7 can be annoying. And what did I say? A, B, or did I say 1, 2? 3, or C, the queen can come out in this direction. The queen can come out in this direction, whether to a5 or b6, hitting b2, and coming in bishop f2. So I think it had a lot of purposes, c6. And again, white is pretty tied down. I think anything is pretty much fine. Knight e2, yeah. So I was recommending f5 for white, and I think that is kind of a good idea to make sure that the center of the board where your king is stays closed. Knight e2 they played. I get it. This knight was really doing a lot of damage to them. And what they wanted is for me to take them. For me to take them and then to potentially help their position as a result, maybe supporting bishop e3. That wasn't going to happen. I play queen b6, so I'm like, okay, your knight moved. Let me jump on that with queen b6. No knight to a4. Now once you trade, bishop takes d4. This looks, again, I just transposed my advantage. This bishop now is even more dominant. It went from here, just really good on one diagonal, to here, now an absolute monster in a couple diagonals. You're definitely not castling short. I control that so well. I'm also threatening bishop f2 check, taking that. By the way, your pawn's on h2. And then also pressure here. So tough situation for white. The engine's recommending queen b3 and just going into this endgame down a clean pawn. I can also maybe even dodge this queen trade, I think. Yeah, it's also very viable to just dodge the queen trade. Okay. Bishop takes d... Yeah, so pressure here. Hard to develop this guy. What do we got? Queen e2. And now just the very simple long castle. So very comfortably, I've had no issues all game, and I've just caused them lots of issues. Like they're like a duck under the surface, right? Or it looks like maybe they're just playing bishop g2 and queen e2, but really they're struggling to find a spot for their king with the legs paddling very quickly. It's tough. This position's tough. This bishop kills you. This bishop kills you. There's just no way around it. There's just no way around it. Like, this pawn came to c4. It couldn't come to c3 to maybe support d4. Anything just blocking this. And it just frustrates them to no end. Even if there's no immediate KO. An immediate KO would be with the rooks. We haven't used, like, the heavy hitters, right? If we're able to trade the pawns, that's what I was talking about. Then, okay, king stuck in the middle. Rooks just kill you, right? That's what we're talking about. So f5 or d5. Let's start putting those on the table. So for that reason, okay, I was recommending f5 for white, but okay, it's not my last break in the position by any means. I would start prepping for d5. They played your king d1, which I get, right? Okay, we've had enough. We're stuck in the middle. Let's just get to that general direction, and maybe we can be safe. So I also just mimic king d8, which is a totally fine move. You know, in general, when you castle, you want to get off there. And if I'm playing d5, okay, I want to get off the c line. Also for my rook, if that king is coming to c2, which it was. King c2, and I didn't even think about this move d5, but it was good, right? I mean, how could it not be good? How could it not be good? My king is going to be untouched by this. My knight is going to be jumping into lots of nice squares here, 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 right? It's just gonna hop around, and he wasn't doing much before. And this just blow it open. Just blow it open. Yes, I help one piece, but opening the board is generally it's hard to do that without doing something for the bishops. And this is still a moment, like, I can give them a few moves, like rook b1 here, defending this, okay, and then maybe they can tuck their king away. But I have some time right now where this is going to be the moment to strike. So d5, I think, was good for that reason. Again, the engine's saying f5, try to do as few pawn trades as possible, right? So, okay, we trade here, and they keep as much closed as they can. Okay, I mean, I try to open more up with g6, and maybe they can hold me off on just this file. My opponent had enough suffering. That's the other thing of tying them down. It's like, eventually they're just going to lash out. They're just going to lash out. It's like in boxing too, you know, if you get boom, 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 you're just going to try to do some overcommitment, and then, okay, you get under that and counter them after they overcommit. So, same idea here. They play e takes d5, c takes d5, and like rook b1 here, but okay, their king is very far from safety. So we throw in that. Pawn trades are good. Pawn trades are good. You saw the position a couple moments ago where it was just totally locked up. The rooks need to get into the game. The rooks are the decisive factors in the attack, right? So we've built it all up. We've tied them down. We've made things difficult for their king, and now we've got things ready to support the pawn trade away from our own king, right? All 8 files start out blocked. The rooks really get a raw deal in chess, and they start in the corners. They need to come into the middle or castle or something. We need to trade something and free them. They're very underutilized pieces, particularly at lower levels. d5, make those pawn breaks, pawn trades, that is, where it will benefit your rooks. And that's exactly here where my rooks are and where their king is, particularly. So take, right? Their rooks were not to be benefited by this, and now look at these files. In particular, the square I got was knight f5. The engine's recommending here e4, which is hard for me to see the reasoning. I think it wants to bring the knight here or something like this. Okay, whatever. Knight f5 is a very human move. g3 is something that's unprotected. Look at unprotected things in the position as well. And now this is quite nice, because if something like queen to f3, all I need to do is either play e4 or just move this bishop anywhere, and then it's hard to keep my knight out of this d4 square as its other target. Yes, I did open this up, the bishop, right, when I allow that pawn to trade, so I do have to IB7. But, okay, something like e4 here takes even rook e8 right now. I can give this knight because they are just getting absolutely slaughtered here, for instance. Okay, in the game, b4 is played, which I get, right? Because here, if I just kind of take this rook, which is possible, but they're like, okay, give me something, like c5, b5, something coming at you with b7 and opening this file onto the b7 point. Give me some semblance of counterplay. Here is where I tried to take that all away with this move, queen to g6 check. Queen to g6 check. Now, okay, queen d3, and I'll just kind of play e4, shove that right in your face. So you need to hold this mate threat. It's hard to hold the mate threat, because the king has to step onto here, and then, okay, there's some bishop moves. Or even just e4. Even just e4, right? Queen g6 check, what it does is it defends the knight. So the king steps here, just e4, that's protected, and you don't have anything here. Otherwise, okay, king b3 makes this even worse. That comes with check. f5 I didn't see. I will freely admit I didn't see. But I think it's still like a practical choice here. Like, okay, there's some confusion whether I'll win this. I mean, there really shouldn't be. But I guess they do have some counterplay. Whereas just the simple queen to g6 check and takes f5, okay, it wasn't the engine's top choice. But even if I did see it, I might have played it anyway here, very comfortably up 2 pawns in the endgame. And, you know, without like a queen and a rook that can get to me. I don't know, but it's yeah, I mean, it's comfortably up 2 pawns. I have no doubt about winning this position, and a win is a win. So f5 was a good move here, right? My queen is hit, and I have to defend mate and the knight, so I can't defend all those things. So I have to take here. My next move has to be check, or I get right checkmated, and then we trade queens, king b3. And I like how I started out here with bishop to e3. Clear, the bishop is now kind of just there. It was dominant before, but now it's not cutting, castling, or attacking anything, and it was taking away maybe knight d4 and rook to d3 invasions. So bishop to e3 is nice, right? Because if we take, then knight takes e3, rook comes in, these pawns that then just flow right behind the pieces. So and the other rook comes to d8. So it looks pretty nice, and also the bishop pair could have been annoying otherwise. They tried to dodge that, but now here comes rook to d3. And now it's hard to find a square for the king, right? Not letting the king, again, get to just a safe square out of the way, in which case I'd have to deal with bishop to e4 for king here, and bishop takes e5, right? The bishops can do a lot to you in open positions. But here, okay, king c2, I would win the bishop. So rook to d3 was pretty forcing, right? That's unpleasant as well. Rook to d3 was pretty forcing with king a4, and now this is, again, an unnecessary level of precision, but we played here knight to d6, which is quite nice, because what knight to d6 does is it attacks c4, right? It attacks c4, so if you play something like to not get mated, like anything actually that just doesn't move the bishop. Oh no, you are mated. What do you got here? Takes here. King a7 supporting this. Filthy. King a7 stepping around. That's so cute. That's actually so cute. I probably would have found that. I think I would have found that. I almost wish I got that. Knight to d6, the other thing it does, in addition to attacking c4 and giving cute king mating patterns, is just shield this from being check. And even though it's a pin, we are still able to finish the game as such with this nice little checkmate. And in fact, that was only the 29th move, but it felt like we played a lot longer. Let me talk about the opening for a little bit. But let me actually field some questions from chat, specifically about this game. What about 7 knight d4? Yes, yeah. So a lot of moves here are good. In the game here, I opted for h5, right? Which, you know, I have one idea, but one idea typically isn't enough to win a game, right? Knight d4 here. Okay, it's a good move. Great square for the knight, right? After h3, I'm probably going to end up taking with the bishop here. But it's like, then what, right? So okay, they dealt with f3. I mean, I could admire my knight, but I need to cause them a problem. And causing them a problem would mean my pawn being on h3. So, you know, I kind of held this. I knew I could play knight d4 anytime I wanted, and I was like, very happy to play h5 here, causing them a number of issues. One, undermining g3, and the other, that they can really no longer use the g2 square for the bishop, so long as that's there. But knight d4 was not a bad choice. What about 20 bishop to a1? It's cute here, right? It's cute here, right? So they're like, the knight is doing a lot of dangerous things, two things, and there's logic when a piece is doing two things to you and you can't guard both. Just guard neither, right? If both of them are gonna be bad, so it's like why exert the energy playing, like, I don't know, queen somewhere. It's hard to justify anything, but the bishop can just go somewhere else here, and now knight d4 feels pretty unstoppable, for example. So just guard neither and try your own idea. c5, b5, like I don't know, just try to get them. I respect this. b4, just give it a shot. Give it a shot. Here, at least you have a shot of like c5, b5, some problem there, pawn trade, opening this. So, here, so I was focusing on my one idea of knight takes g3, which is forcing. Bishop to a1 is interesting. The bishop can go anywhere, right, with knight to d4 being in tow. Yeah, not a bad choice. And specifically, I like a1, because if I go along this diagonal, then bishop can come to kind of... Oh, well, this is check. This is brutal, actually. This is not what you wanted. So, I was going to say bishop b2 covers this. But bishop a1... it's hard to stop this move. It's really hard. And in fact, like, even if you move the queen, check, now the king has no good squares. This needs to step onto this line of fire. So it's pretty funny. Otherwise, they got to go rook d1, and then, okay, I mean, yeah, it's still brutal. Or, I mean, they wanted to maybe sacrifice the rook. Bishop a1, not a bad move, and a pretty cute one. But okay, I don't know. I got 2 exclams by Leech's Tools for this. I got 2 exclams by Leech's Tools. All right, wait, let's have a look. All right, I want to finish this discussion about this opening. c4, a6. c4, a6. It's a very interesting line. And I understand why it might look ridiculous. The main option for white, as I mentioned, was knight c3. But we play your b5. Takes, right? I mean, what else do you do? Right, so I just played b5. You think you stopped it, but you didn't. I played it. And in fact, it's almost the only condition where I would have played it. b5 really has no purpose. Like if I'm just taking on c4, let's say this knight's on b1, I just took on c4, it doesn't really achieve I just spent a few moves, maybe helping you develop a little bit, and here white is just better. The point is, like, bothering you, and then this knight kind of has no good squares. Here, it just continues to get pestered, or you just gotta go back home, right? In which case, okay, I'll do that anyway, probably, and take the space. So it's hard to decline this gambit, because b4 hitting that knight is no good spot for it to go. There's really no good spot for it to go, and there's a similar logic here in the Graf Benko, which is just after d4 and f6, we actually have the same idea. Okay, so you pretty much have to accept this, which is also just an awesome feature of a gambit, undeclinability. Don't like when they just get declined, right? They just get past it. Okay, d5. So now what? If you just kind of ignore this, For example, I think the most common move... Okay, well, now it's d4. When I first recorded the video, the most common move was knight c3. My lines catch on. You got to be there, stay tuned for when they're brand new and nobody knows what to do. Knight c3 we can force next turn with c6 anyway. Knight c3 back. And then we're just playing d4. And we're really just hitting this knight continuously. Trying to play now h4 to trap it. And okay, here, I don't know. We just have a phenomenal position here after e5, queen d5. Take the whole middle of the board, right? This knight can't come out because of pawn e4. Also, we can take a2. This knight can come into b4, potentially c2. They can never play a3 to kick the knight away because the rook just pins that guy, so a takes b4, loses the rook. Otherwise, this is just a lot of fun. They've moved the knight so many times, it's not obvious how they would ever bring that bishop out. e3, there's d3, right in their face. Right in their face, like e3, d3. I remember this, actually, from my video. We play this move d3, and now e4. It's just so brutal they can't develop. Okay, so lots and lots of fun lines if they play knight c3. Okay, d4 is the best move, but okay, there's some fun lines here. You should check out the full theory video here. We can give this pawn as well, d4, queen d5, and continuing to just cause them mayhem. Here, e4, I have some nice games in this position, so this is a good one too. Otherwise, we make a6 useful in every case, right? This is just one example, but otherwise, okay, e6 and d5, right? So for example, here in d4, I don't know, an English player could do this. d5, a6 is a useful move. Why? Because I want to play, let's say, you play e3, and I go here, and you develop. It's especially nice if I can make you move twice, right? Rather than just one move, bishop takes e4, I made you burn a move. a6 is good because I just play b5 here. And I play bishop b7. This is nice. My pawn was here in the way, but I got it over here. And now my next move is c5 here, and this is at least equality. At least equality. And okay, that's just a very conservative option for white. There's other fun things you could do. I will say, like, playing b5 without the knight there, not, like, it's possible. But I don't like it so long as there's bishop takes c4. What I do like is if, right, so if they commit something like this, where we play b5 timed in this position, where the bishop is committed in that direction, but after bishop g2 we still have bishop to b7 to counter that. I like b5 here, and this is a nice way actually to play against the Catalan. So that is a fun option. So but basically a6 is useful in every case. I also have another nice video on g3, which a lot of players do. Okay, g3. What do? We can play with this, but we can also play with the same idea of bishop c5, storing the bishop back here, and then a Grand Prix attack. So a6 is useful in that case as well. So there's really nothing they can do. And otherwise, d4, we can play this move, knight to f6, which already transposes to the Graf Benko, which is another awesome line on my channel. This here, e6. Okay, this is really fun stuff. This is really fun stuff. Similar-ish ideas. You guys gotta check out these videos. These are gambits that people don't know about. Can you link your YouTube channel? Yes, I can. I am the Gambit Man. I'm the Gambit Man. In fact, here, I'll just link this link tree. Because this link tree right here is all the gambits. All the gambits. If you don't know what to do against the French, that one's right there. It's all here. I will link that as well. What we are talking about today is the one against c4, which is here, the Alphabet Gambit. How was I forgetting the name? Alphabet Gambit. It makes so much sense because we play with A and B against the C. So it is the Alphabet Gambit, c4, a6, as you can see here. And the other one is the Graf Benko attack. And you can also, when you click on one of these,
Gambit check.
So there's the original theory video right there. But also, okay, all the examples of me playing it to come up with more ideas. And in our Discord server, which is awesome as well, people share games and discuss their own opening ideas. And we trailblaze theory together. Join. Discord link is also here in the link tree. Subscribe. Favorite is the Budapest. Nice. All right, let's be a Gambit Chad. What I wanted to do now... Well, okay, let's continue playing a little bit. Let's play the tail end of the Super Blitz. Or, no. There's something I wanted to do. My friend put me on to Drawback chess. So. Time preference any. Okay, that's fine. Join the queue. Okay, maybe next time. Real chess for now. Let's join Arena. What's up, Corey Nelson? Oh, I have here Dalloop, thank you for the follow. Saad Kamal subscribing. Opio Manu followed. Nerdy Asian guy followed. M Jedwab followed. Marianne subscribed. Eric Blair followed. Rasta Poutines followed at 100 bits. Thank you so much to all you guys. Adalberto Ross Diaz subscribed. Turk Hanavan subscribed. AVFC Game followed. Appreciate you all. What's my FIDE rating? Yeah, it's unfortunately like 2210. We peaked at 2340. King's Gambit. Well, okay, I could go to this, but let me continue to demonstrate just the old William tried and true formula against all f4s. I think the thing here is that they didn't play an ac3, and a good option for them is actually c3 d4, really quickly. Yeah. So it's a little different when the knight is here, I will say. What do we do? Can I stop this with like bishop g4? d4 take it? Maybe. I want to stop this. Don't do it. Right, very different from when last game when my opponent had the pawn on c4. I never had to worry about this. Very different. Okay, let's take this. It's almost like my opponent knows what they're doing, but my idea was pawn takes. Now I have queen h4 check with no g3. And if queen takes, then I would eat this. Simple enough. It's not a bad gambit. I mean, like, honestly, after bishop takes d4, I would venture to say white has some compensation. Maybe, but I still do have this diagonal. What should they have done? It's actually not even obvious to me. Maybe just bishop e2, right? So that the bishop could capture here and the queen could hold this. But okay, then I play here. Maybe c3 was a little premature. Maybe I don't really know what I'm talking about. How can they get in d4? This was a very annoying move because suddenly I take away 2 defenders of the d4 square. Let's continue with the game. So bishop c4 I think what they're doing is very reasonable. Because now they're like playing this like a gambit. Knight takes c3 and everything. They're just playing this like gambit. But the pawn is on f4. So we're going to try to keep taking advantage of that. Do they have like this? Nah, just go here. Yeah, feel free to switch over to Twitch if you prefer the computer-sized stream. Sound meditation sing bowls. My man, you're awesome. Best by far I've ever seen. Thank you. Aw. Thank you. That's sweet. Now with the knight having moved, I'm happy to take c3 because this is annoying to them. They didn't get knight take c3. And I always want to be annoying to them. So we still have this annoying bishop. Which way do I want my king to go? Potentially he walks into a little bit of trouble in either direction. So my opponent has some good development. Some pretty good development. Something crazy. Check, and I can come back. Let's play this move, knight f6. They do have some strikes. Yeah, I would like to be white here if my king and rook could altogether switch places. Like a crazy castle, right? Then the king is safe, and the rook is here. Okay, and then there's, supporting some counterplay. Alas, their own king, not clear where it's going, even though they have good central control and some nice pieces. Knight b3, I just come back. Bishop to e3, I understand to be what they wanted. Maybe I should have played some sort of move that made this strike here. Still bishop e3. Okay, I think the shine has worn off on their position. Take queen 7. Or just castles rook e8. I'll play queen 7 here, because I could go either directions in still. Okay, we should be a little faster. We should be a little faster. In fact, we berserked, but have spent more time than have they. What I like here is castles queen e4. It's actually quite risky with my king still there. I think we can get away with it, but it's like, why would you do that? I mean, they could just trade rook e1, f5, knight e2. Okay, castles. I'll probably just castle 2, honestly. And then bring my other rook to e8. Continue to pile up here. There's no reason I need to... This rook stays home, defending f7 pretty solidly, so after e5, there's no shenanigans of these two pieces coordinating. No, if castles, honestly, I'm just going to castle. I'm not even going to take this. I don't want, like, trades here happening with, like, rook e1 and my king still being here. Any pins, anything like that. No reason to risk this. Okay, they played bishop d3. So e5 would be, like, they could open this up, make the knight move, and then, you know, h7 could be a problem. But I have e5 controlled quite well. So with me just castling rook e8. So I'm not playing d5, e5, not allowing that. But I'm just putting a lot of pressure here pretty calmly. What can we do now? Let's do something like this. Let's play a little faster, speaking of. I wanted maybe f5? Wasn't a bad idea at all. Feels like kind of a useless pawn. But it is a pawn. Try to come here and trade queens. D6. Why not? We have e5 very well under control. I mean, it's kind of their main break, but it's well controlled. It's just the time situation isn't great. G6 potentially gives them a hook, although it's a very nice square that they'd be conceding. Okay. I want this. I do. If I took it before, it was a little dangerous after e5. Then with some mate threats with my queen's coordination cut off. Okay, they're running a little low on time themselves. Whoa. Was that playable? Maybe. It was worth a shot for sure. Does the knight actually have anything? I don't like playing with fire like this. Rook takes was better. Rook takes was better and I should have done it. I don't think they actually have anything, but it's not really the way I like to play. Okay, sometimes I guess you just gotta defend. What can I say? What can I say? Okay, it is two clean pawns that were up. Okay, he flagged. Yeah, I mean, not a sexy game by any stretch of the imagination. Like, they played this annoying idea c3, d4, cutting the bishop. And then they did this interesting gambit of a pawn, which I think was kind of valid. Okay, I mean, this is a good way to play. Yeah, it would be nicer if they just kind of like played knight c3 and then played into my hand a little bit more. Here in e7 to replace the other knight if necessary. Come into d4. But otherwise c3, okay, it's kind of annoying. I play here bishop g4. c6 I could play, but what happens here? Saying just allow this. Not really what I wanted. This seemed annoying. Saying just do this. Play d3, live to fight another day, bishop e3 and d2. Yeah, their position is solid. This square's under control from my knight. And they're able to trade off for the bishop without nearly as much concern as in the other game, right? They played an interesting gambit here with d4, offering me this pawn. So engine gives me a slight pull. Knight d2 wasn't the best decision. Oh, this was a good move. Just going here. That was a good idea. That's a good idea. Just allowing this and then like Danishizing with the pawns against the bishops, you know, in that direction. Okay, I like that. I like that. Oh, give me, it's minus 0.2, but give me white here. Give me white. Okay, knight d2. What we got? This was, I mean, just like pretty well played by me. Okay, I'm just defending against being down, or being up a pawn, but just dealing with some compensation here. Stopping e5, just important defensive things. Okay, I mean, finally here, like knight d4, it said they had to play, just maintain this nice position. Yeah, I mean, the pawns here do a good job. Like they're mobile, they control a lot of squares. Either of them can push at either moment. So, e5 was interesting, but it actually just made their position worse. I was just going to grab c3 if the knight retreated. Takes. Yeah, knight takes here, rook takes was better. -3 versus -2. But okay, it is just two pawns. It is just two pawns. Like, the rooks are open onto here, but okay, my king is safe. And we defended okay, so this is winning. This is winning, but we just ran him out of time. Can I check out Grandmaster AI after the stream? What is Grandmaster AI? I mean, I kind of have a sense from the name. I mean, I'm just getting generic Google results. Alright, maybe you'll send me a link to what that means. Thank you, Eric Blair. With a Chrome extension. What does it do? Okay, something I wanted to do, now that I guess the Blitz Arena is done, I did want to try this. Let me just open it in this tab. Let me see. Join queue. Time preference any. Okay. Okay. Wait. Let me crop this. Let me show you guys what's happening here. This is really interesting. I just went to drawbackchess.com, right? Wait, no. I need this. Oh, wait. I need to make a move. I made a move with like 1 second left before boarding. Okay, my drawback is, it's like something I can't do, right? Here's my time. I didn't even read it. But my opponent also has some drawback, and they don't know what mine is, and I don't know what theirs are. So mine is rook on the 7th. By move 15, you must move one of your rooks onto the 7th rank. 14 turns remaining. Okay, some of them are really random. Like, you can't use the H file. How do I get my rook to the 7th by move 14? How do I make sure? So, I mean, I could just, like, lose it. I could just lose it. It feels a little desperate. It feels like I'm giving my hand away. But they also have some brutal drawback. Alright, so I could do that at any moment and just give my rook. Maybe their drawback isn't as bad as mine. Alright, wait, let me make this window into, I don't know where we are on the screen. Do a reveal of, okay. Pretty funny. It's a coaching tool. Mayhaps. Let's play H4. Let me try to open up this. How do I get my rook onto the 7th rank? I'm gonna lose if I don't. But they need to give me a square. It's very fast. Typically this only happens in endgames. It's an interesting one. Knight H5 feels like overkill to stop my idea. I'll just take the middle for now. But I still need to not... It's not... The center control isn't worth the rook. I need to get the rook there without losing him altogether. I can click reveal drawback to opponent, which would be maybe not a good button to click. As buttons go. Let's play G4 before they play D6 and cut me off. 11 turns left. 11 turns left. Okay, wait, Knight F6 actually just got me forked. I don't really know what I was doing. Okay. I wanted H5 and I wanted to open this up for my rook. wonder what their drawback is. It could be anything. Could be anything. Could be like checking you lose. Could be like you can only capture things with knights. Some are worse than others. And I think that's supposed to be based off of your elo. I never actually put it in my elo. They just gave me this username, Energetic White Bear. But this is really interesting. This is a really interesting way to play. Okay, we're making some progress as far as rooks go. I would love to just take that pawn without losing my rook. Like, say, take the pawn. I mean, that was kind of my idea. Otherwise, to like put pressure along this diagonal in some way, even if the pawn was still on g6. Because I need to manufacture, like, if I... Obviously, I could just go here and just lose my rook, right? To not lose the game. But okay, I need to manufacture something where that's not happening. So, queen d3 I could play, and actually does support rook takes h7. h6 I have queen e4, forking here, which could be good. Knight g5 I was considering, like, because it attacks the here and here, but then knight h6 is actually the opposite of what I want. So let's play queen d3. And I think they'll play bishop b7, because I think h6, queen e4 seems kind of nasty. Right, because that gets forked. But little do they know h6 would be a phenomenal move, because I don't think I have 7 turns left. I don't think I can just fish for their rook. The thing about this drawback is the drawbacks I've seen are like indefinite for the whole game. And this one, once I get there, we're good. You know? Once I get there, we're good. Bishop a6, interesting. I'll play queen e4. So I could play rook takes h7 and save myself. I'm eyeing this. 6 turns remaining. The goal was to not just lose the rook. It's a tricky goal. It's tricky to do, I think, in general, even if they have no idea. It's just... I can't think of a situation where I would ever allow my opponent's rook to just wander in there that early into the game. You know? But we've taken the middle of the board, which is, like, they haven't moved any middle pawns. Oh, maybe that's their drawback. Unless they just, you know, wanted to do this. Maybe that's their drawback. They can't use these. You can always guess. There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of drawbacks. It's pretty funny. Okay, knight c6 played. So now I have the tough decision. So I saved the rook. Do I accomplish this with 5 turns remaining, or do I test my luck and play this move queen takes g4, which is so tempting because it's a free knight and attacks this bishop and could give me rook takes h7. But it's really risky because I only have a few turns remaining. If I take and they play like king f8, and I like try to attack this, they could play h6 and I could lose the game. I think I have to take h7. I think we got to play it safe. Also, this was hanging. It just occurred to me. The knight was defending that. Alright, I think we got a lot of good things cooking here. Because even queen takes h7. Alright, we did it. We did it. The counter went away. We did it, Reddit. And now lots of things are hanging for them. We got this going on. We also got that. Right, so if they take f1, what I'm going to do is take g7. And then I'm threatening queen g8 checkmate, right? As long as there's no bishop to block here. Dude, that was a successful first game of drawback chess. I think... Yeah, they just have to play bishop f8. I have no drawback. Presumably they still have one. My guess it's one of these. I could click reveal drawback to opponent, which would kind of be filthy, just shoving in their face that I no longer have a drawback. I think it's kind of a rude thing to do, but I'm going to do it. I just told him that it was just getting the rook there. And that I no longer have any drawback. And I'm free to do whatever I want. I don't think they liked that. I'm sorry, the world 21. What's my ELO, bro? Like 4. Maybe 4.5. Bishop c4. Alright, the bishop was hit. If they take c2, I'm going to hit the knight. And then the knight moves, and I checkmate. Yeah, they probably really can't move these pawns. I mean, that is the most ostensibly obvious way to guard mate, but they have to do that. Ah, so I was about to take this knight and end the game. Wait, my opponent's drawback was separation anxiety. Your pawns that are adjacent to your king cannot make moves that leave the squares adjacent to him. Your king can make moves that leave the mine. Ah, okay, interesting. So mine was pretty hard. You can see. Mine was harder. Theirs was easier. Interesting. All right, wait. Let's play again. Let's play another drawback game. Like that Ergo Proxy. Eric Blair, what's up? Danny Fathor. I can't move the same piece twice in a row. Okay, I like that. Actually. That's interesting. So we don't want to get into like an end game. Like imagine like a queen and pawn end game. That would suck. Because the queen would be kind of important. Okay. Can I play a push gas gambit? Do I move? This is not something I think about too often. Okay, they play c3 as if prepping like a Ponziani. I gotta be careful about bringing my queen out. Alright, let's play d5, stopping this, maybe. I don't want to bring my queen out because then they can, like, play c4, and then I would lose my queen. Right? I lose my queen. I can't move her again. So, okay, let's play here. Can we play a gambit still? If they... Okay, wait. This is interesting. Give me the same piece twice in a row. Okay. It's so simple. Yet so... Okay, this is a 3+2 game. I can also play c6, pawn takes c6. I don't know, guys. I think we are going to bring out the gambit glasses for this one. You don't have to tell me twice about moving the same piece twice in a row. I'm moving all my pieces. Gambit glasses and drawback chess. Let's go. Pawn takes c6 was especially spicy. E4... E4, they can still play d3. Okay, let's play bishop c5. Again, if they just play something like b4, I lose the bishop. Okay, knave 3 played. Well, let's make sure we keep mixing it up. e4, so that attacks this knight, and they don't really have a great square. Okay, so they're offering here to just give me the pawn. I think I have to take this. I don't know what else I can do if I don't. So I'll take it. And I'm going to use my queen right now. They're thinking here. Is there something stopping them from playing c takes d4? Oh. If they don't play c takes... Oh, they didn't. Oh, but I can't move the bishop. I can't move the bishop. I was like, oh, I just want a piece. No, I can't move the bishop. I can play c5 and c takes d4. It's actually really funny. I can't move the bishop. Okay. I wonder what's happening. Can they do it now? No. Probably not. Probably not. They probably still can't move the bishop. Or play c takes d4. So their drawback is like something preventing them from taking with pawns. Okay, now let's just save our bishop. I mean, I don't know. It seems like I could leave him here. There. He seems to be doing okay. But I don't know. I'm just gonna move him. So okay, no pawn captures. Maybe their drawback was just no pawn captures. Did they? No, they had a pawn capture. They played takes. What allowed them to play e takes d5? No pawn captures unless they're pawns? We're just guessing here. All right, queen c7. We got to be careful with our queen, because if I come out here, right, c4 or something is dangerous. Okay, they're just like... Is their drawback they can only move pawns? Let me just snatch this guy. All right, I can't move the bishop again. I wanted like here and here, but it's... I can't do something like that. We got to be very careful about this. Let's play rook d8. Attacking is kind of tricky without... Can they play g3? Probably. But maybe after, if I take g3, maybe they won't be able to recapture with the pawn. Maybe their drawback just prevents... Maybe pawns of theirs can only take pawns of mine. That's what I'm going with. Alright. I want my, like, rook across. Getting the queen across just seems too risky given my drawback. So... Okay, let's play bishop a6. Let's try to use all our pieces. I'm just going to try to create this square. Using all your pieces is especially important here for me, given my situation. Okay, that's kind of annoying. Here, maybe there's... Oh no, c5 takes e2 as a move I can play in between. Oh, I also just... Stupid. No, but we're good. We're just playing with a very clear goal right now. And that is just get the rook there. There we go. And in fact, this works beautifully. Wait, what a beautiful drawback chess checkmate. The rook and the queen double checking. We alternated. Oh, you actually have to... Oh, yeah, you have to take the king. You have to take the king in drawback chess because you never know... Oh, I can't move the queen again, right? You never know. You never know. I can't move the queen again. Okay. I'll get this king. Now I... Okay, now I got him. So if he played like rook e1 last turn, then the game would have gone on. Because then I would do something else. Then you'd play king f1. Then I'd play queen h1, which again is checkmate. But then again, I can't move the queen again. Okay, but we got the king. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Another drawback chess victory. Your pieces can't capture pieces worth more than them. Punching down. Ah, so they couldn't... Okay. So their pawns were able to take my pawns, but their pawns weren't able to take my pieces, which is... Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So mine was a little bit harder than theirs on the drawback chess scale. Interesting, interesting stuff. My drawback was harder than them. I liked my drawback a lot. I thought that was really interesting. Rook h6, double check, and then queen to h2. Can't move them twice in a row, but we didn't. All right, wait. I think I'm pretty good at this. Let's join the queue. Let's play again. Nate Kelly, what's up, my man? How you doing? How you doing? Dude, good to see you. Welcome to the stream, my man. You can only capture from dark squares? What? Alright, rip late squared bishop. You can only capture from dark squares. Okay, let's put the knights, like, there. You can only capture from dark squares. So what do I want to... This is extremely restrictive. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I'm not sure I'm going to play this. Okay. This is a tough one. I'm just thinking about the mechanics of this. Theirs better be tough too. Theirs better be tough too. Alright, let's try to keep our pieces on some dark squares. Alright, so this is defended because I can capture from here. I don't know. Where do I want to bring you? Like here? You're not going to be very useful. Sorry. All right. Oh, I was gonna be like, yeah, I'll take it. No, I won't. No, I won't. Alright, let's play h6. Let's see what happens here with this bishop. Interesting. Okay. We can only capture from dark squares. Okay. That's fine. We just don't need to do a lot of capturing. He says as we trade. So I can't play knight takes. So this is technically free. I mean, they don't know that because they don't know my drawback. But I can't recapture, right? Maybe I'm reading into this too much. Maybe pieces don't have to capture all the time. King h7 to them looks like it's protected, even though it's not. In fact, if they knew my drawback, then queen takes h6 would be brutal. Right? Yeah, there's the important point they don't know. Like, this looks protected. I mean, it actually is. These are dark squares. It's the important point that they don't know. So we need... Like, if it happens once, that would be bad, because that would kind of give my hand a little bit. So we just need to not let it happen once. So right now it looks like a normal, really normal middle game position. Here I'm genuinely threatening this, because I got onto dark squares. Like normal King's Indian stuff. They don't know that queen takes h6 check is going to be possible. Because my king is on a light square, right? I can't take it. And then king g8, queen g7, that would be checkmate. That would be checkmate. I can't take the queen. So, but I mean, there's no way you would do that. I don't know what their drawback is. So that's important to play that investigative work based off of what they've done, if they've done anything weird. For now, I'll play this move a5, potentially. It's just so my knight hangs around. This was... 86 was something I maybe wanted to do anyway, but... Alright. I'm going to portray to them the confidence that I can recapture from this square. Where we got a rook on d8. Dark squares for everybody. Knight takes e4 was playable. Maybe I could have done it. Alright, again, I could trade queens. But do I want to? I'm just trying to think, like, what are the mechanics of this situation? Okay, let's just play something like... Alright, let's play knight d7. Potentially wasn't a great move because of rook d1. Oh, no! Oh my god. They could just take my queen. This is a light square. Okay. We gotta be... We can't let that happen again. In fact, this was stupid in a vacuum, just because this pin is annoying now. I got away with one there. I like the names they come up with this. Gloom Stalker. Alright, rook a7. We're defending this. I don't know why I made this so tricky for myself. Okay, I just want to be able to play an knight c5. It's not that bad when they don't know what it is. In this case, right? Like, here, like, it's not like they're just going to take on d7. Alright, we got 2-second increment. Time is roughly even. I still am not sure what they've done. Oh, they did know? Ain't no way. Wait, don't take again. Don't take again. Pretend you're down a piece and don't want to trade rooks. Ah! What? How did they know to just give their rook? Because they knew my drawback was I couldn't capture from light squares? Oh, wow. How did they figure that out? How is that even possible? What? That is outrageous. I am outraged. Alright, Let's try to get this pawn to a3 and bother them. Right, I can't even recapture. Like, did they just blunder? But then why would you trade rooks after you blundered? Alright. Pretend I'm threatening to take this pawn. Move your rook. No, they know. They know. They know. It's like they know my drawback. I should have played c5, c4. This doesn't do anything. I need c5, c4. And then you go rook a7 to be able to take it. And you go rook a7 so that or it can take it once I discoordinate the bishop from the pawn. But you're coming in there. I feel like their drawback has been totally inconsequential, whatever it may be. Has not bothered them one bit. He's coming to c6 now. I can't recapture from here. Like the h-check can come. Oh, you know what? Trade off for this bishop. It's not very helpful. I can't take this pawn. Somehow they just are ignoring the pawn. I guess they've worked the h-check now. Yeah, I would have taken that pawn and like tried to roll. But it was illegal. Oh my god. Dude, did they stream snipe me? That's crazy. When in check, you must move your queen or lose. Oh. I just need to put them in check one time to win? I guess I never actually put them in check. Mine was only a little bit harder than theirs. I feel like... I don't know. Alright, whatever. Let's get him. Let's get him. Let's play again. I like this. I wonder if you play drawback chess for long enough, you kind of start to see opponents' weaknesses early. Maybe. Oh, can't capture queens. Ooh. Can't capture queens, the plural. No matter how many they promote. Yeah, maybe. But it's like, okay, are they just doing that because that's what they do? Alright, can I play a Von Hennig in drawback chess? I can't capture their queen, which is probably going to be a little tricky in that main line with bishop takes e6. Main line, I mean. So that move was already a little bit weird. It's possible they just wanted to do that, but d takes e4 makes more sense. So could be some restrictions about like pawn captures in the middle. It's also possible they just wanted to do this. So really not a lot to go off of there. What do I do here? Can I win this pawn? Probably just like bishop d3. Recapture. I don't know. Maybe I could have taken, tried to win the pawn. It was too much. I was concerned about opening this and like c5 and then a queen trade happening. Didn't want it. Or let's try to attack a little bit. Well, c5 is annoying, right? They could take this. They don't know. But they could. Alright, everything they're doing seems pretty reasonable to me. My drawback has been harder because it actually prompted me before to enter my elo. I'm supposed to even it out. You know, like how in Go you can give handicaps? Kind of like that. Can't capture queens. I think we've been playing pretty solid for no queen capture. Because the position's very closed. And it's hard to see how a queen trade would happen. Do I want f4 to support knight g5 or here to just stop the bishop development? I think here. No, this is still good. Bishop e7, okay, knight g5. Do I want to swing the rook around? Or just play knight g5 immediately? Both compelling. I like maybe just g4. They're a long ways from castling here. Again, I think my drawback won't come into play. We're hitting this. Okay, it's not like my king has so many safe havens to castle. If they get a few moves, they'll be okay, just from a chess perspective. But I don't intend to give them that, as the bishop came here. Now I'm bothering them back on g7, so now they're back there. I could play here bishop g5 or knight g5. I like knight g5 because of ideas of taking here. I think it's a little far-fetched. What are they doing that's weird? I feel like the fact that they haven't moved this is a little weird, but I feel like every move you could justify from a chess context. Can they move their queen? I mean, drawback wouldn't be you can't move your queen. It's a little crazy. But okay, just recapture. Here. I wanted something with takes and then some follow with bishop g6, but I need it protected, of course. Okay, wait. Check. No. Yes, check. I think it's because this comes with check. But now I need to defend this. But bishop d7, I wanted to play. I have a couple options. Knight e6 is very interesting. Oh, knight e6 is potentially genius. Queen f4, queen e7. There's no real way to finish it off. But knight takes e6. F takes e6, queen g6. King e7, bishop g5. That's game. But crazy things going on here. Okay, they just recapture. But we can just checkmate them and then win the king. We checkmate them. Can't capture queens, but I'll capture the king. My opponent's drawback was queen disguise. Your queen is secretly either a rook or a bishop. Once you move it like one, you can't move it like the other. Okay, that's why they weren't moving the queen. Theirs apparently was easy. I feel like that kind of sucks, though. Because it's like, you just have a rook instead of a queen. Probably. I mean, a little bit better version of that, also because I don't know. And that explains why they were leaving the queen there. In a vacuum, though. Nice tactic. Just in a vacuum, I'm talking about chess. Knight was coming after my prized possession, and I was going to do it with check, right? So I can't, like, go here and then prepare some, like, bishop g6 something. I had to go here right now because they were going to take with check and then defend f7. Bishop g7, knight takes e6, right? Bishop is pinned. So we got him, really. Takes c2, they could throw in, but just king d1 doesn't change anything. You move your queen, I trade here, I move my knight somewhere, putting you in some brutal check along this diagonal. Anyway, in the game, they just took here, check, and mate. Not for taking the queen, because I can't, but for taking the king, which I did. And we won. Drawback chess there. Hello, hello. Yeah, challenge me in drawback chess. Challenge me in drawback chess. Let's play one. Let's play another one. Sure, yo mate, big fan here, how you doing? Aw, thank you for all the instructive lines you put out. Of course, it is my pleasure. Very glad you enjoy. Two steps forward, one drawback. If you move forward 2 moves in a row, you must move backward on the next. Not even laterally, but backwards. Wait, that sucks. Not even laterally. That's actually a big difference. What move that's backwards can I justify at the beginning of the game? I guess I can do something laterally to break the streak. Just like rook g1 right now. This is going to look very suspicious. I was going to go here and here. But it's going to look very suspicious. And I don't want to give it away. Maybe I play rook g1. This is actually what I'm going to do. Rook g1, rook h1. To break the streak. I don't want to move backwards at the beginning. How do I do this? Here. Because I can't move laterally third. I have to move laterally, so... Okay, now I can do something. They did this. I can't take it. Well, I can, but then I have to move backwards. And actually literally have no... Well, I have knight d2 as a backward move. But what if they recapture? I have to play knight d2? What happens if I literally have no backwards moves? I think I'll just lose, right? Kind of annoying. Okay, e3. I'll play this. If e4, I can play knight d2. In fact, I have to play this anyway. Okay, so that was good that happened. That was good that happened. I had to go backwards on that move. Now I'm free for 2 moves. My drawback is really brutal. Actually, this is the worst one I've had. This is easily the worst one I've had. You must move backward. Okay, so I can't move forward because I literally would have no backward move in the position. So we'll move laterally. And it actually is justifiable, I guess, to protect h2. So maybe... I think we've done a good job hiding this. We've done a good job hiding this. Now I'm free for 2 moves. Here. Potentially we have this, if we need it. Which is backwards. You must move backwards. I want... Yeah, okay. This seems tough because I feel like I need freedom in this position. Knight d3 check could end the game if I move forward right now. So I'm gonna play this just to free myself. With the knight in my face like this, I think I need the freedom to... Wait, it just said my last move was forward. No, I played knight here. My last move was here. Is it? Unless it's tracking it wrong. No, that is indisputably a backward move. Okay, okay, it just took a minute to reset. Okay, now I'm free for a couple moves, so I can go here, right? So I couldn't have done that unless I had played knight here last turn. Okay, queen takes, and I think my next move after that could be with my queen. Because if I take here, how do I make a backward move? Oh, let's play knight takes. And my next move is knight back. Oh, wait, that worked so well. They blundered the bishop in a way that's backwards. Let's go. Let's go. This is an insane drawback. It's insane. Like, how do you ever checkmate? How do you do anything? They resigned. I had a super hard tier drawback. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. Look how high up the meter it is. That's almost at the max of meters. They should not have resigned. I don't know if I could have won. I would have liked to play that out. My opponent's drawback was every turn you will randomly be unable to move either left or right. This is so funny. You left or right. Okay. Just like interesting. Wait, so how did that play out over the course of this game? It's gonna be so funny. So they went here. So they couldn't move. But no matter which one it was, like, okay, bring out a piece. That's either direction. That one's left, one's right. So I don't know why you're just moving straight, as if you can't move in both. It's either. They're just moving straight. I think I played this quite cleverly with rook g1, allowing me to not just, you know, have to go back knight g1 like every time, and then I'd lose a backwards move also, right? Like, again, let's say I did that. Let's say I played like d4, they did something, and then I played knight g1, and then they did something, then I did another forward move, right? Here, and then I did like another forward move. Then I'd be out of backwards options is my point. Like, it's not worth it. So playing knight out and giving yourself that lateral move to break the streak, I think was the only way to do it. We had knight back at the right time. We had rook h1 at the right time again to give me another forward move. And then it allowed me to play here, giving me the ability to make a forward move to not get checkmated, right? Because if I did something like normal, then here I lose. I can't go forward. Okay. Fun game, GG. We played knight back. We won that, and then we got backwards in time there to take the bishop. Yeah, knight takes also worked out well because, okay, I sent that guy way forward, and bringing it backwards was pretty legitimate. All right, that was a fun game. That was a fun game. Maybe I copy that link to my clipboard. All right, wait, let's play again. Getting the queen off the back rank will be helpful for available backwards moves. Yes. That's true. Because you can just do that. But okay, I mean, it still gives you not a lot of freedom. Two moves and then one backwards moves, yeah. Ladies first. Oh, wait. What we got? You can only move your king if you moved your queen on the previous move. That's funny. That is funny. That's actually really funny. Okay. Okay. Alright, wait, let's play a Graf Benko Gambit, though. You don't want to get into... check? Well, I could just block the check. Okay. This line is also pretty active with the queen. We already got the Gambit glasses on my head. Takes, okay. Gonna recapture. Another opponent making this error. We would just play here a5. And we chop this up. This happened earlier on stream. Let's take it before b5 and then that defense. So knight a6 is nice. But so is just like knight c6 and queen a5 as a follow-up. Knight c6, a3. So far, I think everything could have just been normal chess. b6 is an option as well. b6 potentially the most annoying. a3, then b6 is kind of what I'm thinking about, actually. Here was doable as well, just to grab c5. This is interesting. b6 takes, right? So I'm waiting for them to play a3. Or maybe I should have just done it directly. Okay, takes. It's kind of a funny position for my opponent because they've done so much on the queen side. Alas, they've made no moves. That is a total fresh start over there. They're very far from getting off of this pin. And 84 is coming. And my drawback seems to be a non-factor right now. My queen is going to come as well to join this pile-up. So I don't think I'll have any issues making a queen move if I need to castle. Yeah, queen b2, queen takes b6. Let's add them on. Queen a5, knight e4. Boom, boom, boom. So already I can castle if I need to right now. But I don't even think I'm going to take that option. That was a good move, because knight e4 would have hit f2 as well. There's knight e2. No, but they will lose their queen. They will lose their queen. Knight e2 takes c3. And then both captures lose your queen. Queen a5 was, I mean, also just resigns, right? But okay, this is also good. This is check. Oh. They're checkmated in this position? They lose their queen, right? Knight takes c3, I take the queen. Queen takes c3, and knight takes queen. Beastful, you lose if you have fewer pieces than your opponent. Oh, wait. So they played against the Gambit man, so that worked out for them for a little bit. You lose if you have fewer pieces than your opponent. But then the Gambit man's Gambit worked out. And so I was just winning material. Interesting. This game just ended. But okay, they were lost anyway. Alright, alright. This is fun. I like this. I like this a lot. I might play more drawback chess. I think what I should do is... Oh, wait, my profile. Why is my ELO 1597? Oh, okay. I'll create an account and everything. And we'll play some more. But we'll also, like, get back to real chess. So... I was about to sign off. I saw these LeBron comments. I'm not sure that was where his talent lay. I'm pretty grateful that he chose basketball. He chose basketball from an extremely young age. I know I saw this picture of LeBron with like this Fisher-Price toy hoop. He was like 2 or 3 with the ball. So it's like a Tiger Woods situation. Start young. Same way, like the greats in any sport. Floyd Mayweather came from a great boxing family, obviously. Magnus started very young. I started very young at chess as well. Okay, I mean, I'm not at the level of the people I just mentioned. But your brain's very elastic at that age. Of course it helps. I don't think LeBron was going to be a grandmaster. It's hard to say that anybody was going to be a grandmaster. It's way better than people realize. The GM title, it's unbelievably difficult, right? It's 1,800 of them maybe who've ever lived. And who've ever lived. the number of billionaires is double that. You have a much better chance of becoming a billionaire. Even though it's still like the most prestigious title that is completely meritocratic. If you woke up tomorrow with an extraordinary amount of skill at this board game, you would become a Grandmaster. You would. Whereas I don't know what skill you could wake up tomorrow in and necessarily become a billionaire. Just rambling my thoughts. LeBron knew there was more money in the NBA than chess. I guess if I could choose between... Actually, I don't know which one I'd choose. I thought that would be obvious for basketball. Being Magnus sounds pretty cool too. All right, well, just random topic aside. Okay, sure. All right, I was just about to sign off. Have a great night, everyone. Subscribe here on YouTube. Follow if you're watching on Twitch right now. And I'll be back. Thanks all.